Alright, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network. Alright, y'all see what's going on here? As y'all see the thumbnail, y'all read the title under the thumbnail. Now, this one today is dealing with Kevin Gates and Charleston White make up. They cool. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people don't care about that situation. And some people do pertaining to the things that Charleston White be saying. And a lot of people can place it on Charleston White based on the discontent that him and Kevin Gates had towards one another. You understand? But yeah, it seems as if they made up, man. So a couple days ago, they was out in public, ran by one another. You know what I'm saying? At first, had a few choice of words, and then those few choice of words actually came into them understanding one another. Because, you know, these guys are a little older. So again, the things that they say can seem a little harsh. Charleston White can seem a little harsh to the public. But yeah, like I said, man, they end up hashing out their differences, putting it to the side. If y'all don't know the situation that happened, you know, Charleston White, you know, he gonna say some things. And like I said before, he gonna say some things that's gonna make somebody feel some type of way. And one of those people happened to be Kevin Gates, because at that time, he was actually doing an interview, Charleston White. He was doing an interview and he was speaking on Kevin Gates. Because the question was asked, do you think that Kevin Gates was the reason why Drika, his ex-wife, left him? You had a lot of people saying, yeah, you know, Kevin Gates started changing. You know what I'm saying? And some people saying it was her. Now, one of them people saying it was Kevin Gates who had changed was Charleston White. And not only did he say Kevin Gates changed, but he say mostly from a feminine perspective. What Charleston White is saying at the time, again, and this was during the time a couple months back. This was during the time, we talking about months back when Kevin Gates and Drika was going through their situation. You understand? And a lot of people were surprised that Kevin Gates and Drika was going their separate ways. So again, that's why the interviewer had asked Charleston White, how does he feel about the Kevin Gates and Drika breaking up situation? You know, Charleston White, again, he goes on his rant, but that rant that he made, he had some words towards Kevin Gates. And those words were basically questioning Kevin Gates' sexuality. You understand? He said that, you know, at the time, again, this was during the time that, you know, Drika and Kevin Gates, again, they was going their separate ways. You know what I'm saying? And some people were saying that, yeah, that Drika had found more of a masculine man in her trainer. Again, this is some people, man, but this video is based on Kevin Gates and Charleston White. They making up. They cool now, man. You understand? And like I said, the crazy part about it is when Charleston White made those statements about Kevin Gates being a little feminine, like literally like the next day, Kevin Gates, he ended up reaching out to Charleston White through somebody that knew Charleston White and Kevin Gates. So Kevin Gates called Charleston White like, hey man, what you saying in that interview? Like, hey bro. So, you know, again, Charleston White on a phone call, he said, hey man, I said what I said, right? Then even Charleston White explains this himself, that he ended up seeing Kevin Gates in public. Now, when he seen Kevin Gates in public, he said he knew that Kevin Gates was going to approach him based on the conversation that they had on the phone, and also based on what Charleston White had said about him in the interview. So once they seen each other in public, Charleston White said, real talk, he said his whole demeanor changed, because the way Kevin Gates approached him, basically, he had a few words. He said the few words was just enough that he didn't have to say too much. So basically what Charleston White is saying, that Kevin Gates basically said, hey man, you say basically with less words, was like, man, you say anything else about me, man, them guys gonna be on you. Basically, you understand? That's when Charleston White knew right there, it's certain people that he can't bring that to. Because he understands that his whole image on social media is pertaining to a character that he puts on. But at the same time, he do understand that, hey man, this character, don't nobody care about that character, especially if this character is disrespecting people that's really in the streets. So basically, Charleston White knew it was in his best interest to stand down and to also, make up, be cool with Kevin Gates, because there's no real reason why they should have any real discontent towards one another. They both basically giving the same message to the younger generation, and that's to don't follow the older guys if you see them going down the wrong path. Because that path, it may seem cool right now, but it will be a detriment to anything that you want to do in life. You feel me? But on the flip side, we do have, Kevin Gates, being a Louisiana native. He speaks on Boosie being a Louisiana native, and he hears what's going on with Duke the Jeweler and the Chicago GDs approaching his Louisiana native, Boosie. Kevin Gates, he's familiar with the street politics. Is sort of familiar with the street politics that go on in Chicago, because we know that, he was locked up there for a couple years. You understand? He went from doing time in the county to doing time in a major prison in Illinois. You understand? So with that being said, he understands what Boosie is going through, especially depending on the person that was connected. Like even Kevin Gates speaked on, the dude, the jeweler that I heard, they had got sent up in H-Town. I heard the dude was connected. Even Kevin Gates is realizing the street connection that Duke the Jeweler had. And with that, he understands the kind of predicament that places Boosie in. And like I said, he's only speaking on it because they're both Louisiana natives. And so with that being said, Kevin Gates is more coming from the perspective of, hey man, you need to have a sit down conversation with those people. Let them know the real deal. Don't go on social media, because it can be chopped and screwed and used against you. So at the same time, you want to take the proper steps and actually talking to Duke's family, so y'all can have they can have a real perspective on what happened to their family. You understand? And I respect that. That's real. That's why a lot of people is even saying that Boosie shouldn't have went on stating what happened to Duke the Jeweler, because that put him in a situation to make it seem as if him and his guys had something to do with it, even though it's true. They may have not had their hands in it. But again, it still goes to the point that even Kevin Gates is saying, hey man, I know how the GDs move. I know how the Stones move. You know what I'm saying? I know how these guys move in Chicago. Like they on some eye for an eye type of mentality, especially when it come up to one of their guys that created resources and that wasn't on that type of time. See, even Kevin Gates understand the magnitude, because he Duke was a jeweler. So he understands why the streets is on Boosie pertaining to someone who wasn't in the streets like that, but somebody who was actually a businessman. But he only saying that he coming from the perspective of he want the best for Boosie, again, being a Louisiana native. And also he understands the flip side, dealing with the emotions behind Duke Brother Stacks and also the GDs. See, and Kevin Gates also understands, along with Charleston White, that there's another fatherless child that wasn't in the streets, man. So that's why Kevin Gates and Charleston White could see more eye to eye than what most people can understand. Because like I said, they both coming from the same perspective. You know what I'm saying? They just have their different viewpoints based on how the message should be delivered. Now, we all know Charleston go in. He go a little hard. And there's times that Kevin, he go hard too. You know what I'm saying? Based on how black people treat one another. And that's something that Charleston White speaks on as well. So again, they can both agree that it's a messed up situation with having a Duke the Jeweler, because based on the fact that there's a young man out there, there's a young boy that's going to turn into a young man that's going to be raised in a presence without his father in the home. You feel me? But again, this video is based on, Kevin Gates, Charleston White, all the guys hashing out their differences and letting the next generation know that, hey man, do not follow the older guys if you see they on some goofy time. Because that goofy time they on is not going to be productive or conducive to the things that you want to do in life. You feel me? Hey, but as always, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network.